Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Orange and Brown Talk podcast, our Tuesday Hey Mary Kay edition of the podcast, where our Football Insider subscribers sent us in their questions following the Browns' loss to the LA Chargers on Sunday, 30-28. And Mary Kay, I'm sure you can imagine what a lot of these questions had to do with after that defensive performance on Sunday. We are going to talk about Joe Woods and the defense, but I want to start here just to I guess put a little bit of a different spin on this. And this comes from Bruce Moore in West Palm Beach, Florida, a member of the Palm Beach Browns backers. Hey, Mary Kay, there's a lot of negative talk about the Browns defensive coaches, but should some of the blame also go to Andrew Berry in light of the struggles by Jacob Phillips and the young defensive tackles?
You know what? That's a great question. It is a great question. And I've been thinking a lot about this since the game yesterday and since the Falcons game. You know, you look out there and you have to wonder, and we talked about this some on our pod last night, are some of these issues personnel problems? Did they leave themselves a little too short at linebacker? Did they leave themselves a little too thin at defensive tackle? Is their philosophy of going, with the smaller hybrid linebackers a little bit of an issue, especially when you play against a bigger guy like Cordarrelle Patterson? Now, that didn't really end up being a huge factor because Patterson was hurt, and they actually gashed them with other backs who weren't even quite as big as him. But I think it's a combination of a lot of these things. I think they do miss Anthony Walker Jr. a lot. Not only was he off to a really nice start at middle linebacker, and he's super solid from a technique standpoint and a tackling standpoint, but he's also your green sticker guy. He was calling the defensive plays, and he's got a tremendous way of getting everybody lined up where they're supposed to be. And when you look at the 42-yarder in Atlanta that Marcus Mariota threw there at the end of the game, I think that was a situation where the linebackers, cheated up on the, bit on the play fake a little bit. And then Marcus Mariota was able to find a hole in the cover 3 zone. And it just turned out to be a disaster of a play. So I think it's a combination of a lot of things, but I do think there is something to be said for looking at some of the players in certain positions and wondering if they are playing up to their capability. Are they being put in positions to succeed? I mean, it's kind of hard to know. I think they have to break it down. Like Kevin Stefanski was saying today, they don't have a bye week right now to break it all down, but somebody's just going to have to burn the midnight oil and figure out where the biggest problems are and root them out and fix them.
And, look, obviously, Andrew was not happy with something because a few hours after that game, Deion Jones is on his way to Cleveland. And, that's obviously not something that just materialized out of thin air. Jacob Phillips has not been good enough. And you don't make this trade if you're confident that Jacob Phillips can be that guy in the middle. And that's a guy that Andrew drafted in the 3rd round. And they tried to kind of clear the table for. Now, Anthony Walker came in and maintained that job and won it out of camp. But it seemed like they wanted Jacob Phillips to take that job. We talked about the defensive tackles last night. Jordan Elliott was a 3rd round pick. Perrion Winfrey played a lot on Sunday and didn't appear to be real effective in the run game. Taven Bryan wasn't a draft pick, but they did go out and sign him as kind of a reclamation project from Jacksonville. Andrew Berry's stamp is on this defense. And I do think it's fair to look at both sides of it, the coaching and also the person who built the defense. I mean, they put a lot of resources into this defense since he got here.
Yes, they really have. And I've been touting it as what I thought was supposed to be a Super Bowl caliber defense this year. I really thought it was going to be that. I thought that the young guys that showed so much promise last year were going to really step up this year and make even more of an impact. And I'm talking about Greg Newsome, Grant Delpit, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I expected all those guys to really pop this year. And so far, we still need to see some things from those guys. Now, the season is young. It's only 5 games in, but they can't have the breakdowns that they've been having. They can't be giving up the yardage rushing that they have in the last 2 weeks, 440 yards in the last 2 weeks alone. I mean, Bill Belichick is coming to town this week, and they rushed for, I think, 176 yards in their victory over the Lions. And boy, I mean, when Bill Belichick smells blood in the water like that, he is going to attack. And so they better get some things done in a hurry.
Yeah, that's one thing that's certain.